Welcome to SmartTalk Radio, Episode 12. This is your host, Chris Zafoid-Karabats, and in this episode, I interview our newest Outreach Hive member, Lily Forrester from Acapulco, Mexico. Lily joins us there as a veteran from Anarchapulco and her own event, Anarchaforco, and she talks a little bit about her past and why she's here and what she's excited about. Hope you all enjoy the listen. Thanks. Hey everyone, this is Chris Zafoid-Karabats with SmartTalk Radio, and today we have Lily Forrester with us. Lily is the newest member of our Outreach Hive, and she's helping out with all the different outreach duties, and you might also know her from Anarchaforco, the conference in Acapulco that SmartCash was backing the last 2 years. Here for this podcast episode to introduce Lily to the SmartCash people and the Smart Hive listeners, and just get to know her a little bit better. Why don't you go ahead and say hi and give yourself a brief introduction, Lily?
Hi everybody. Yeah, it's me, Lily Forrester. I've come out of hiding officially, and I'm basically using everything that happened to focus on working on projects that I like, both my own projects and other projects like SmartCash, and finding a way to move on.
Yeah, and we love the work Lily's done so far, and we're really happy to be able to have her on the team. It was great that we had some of our team members meet her last year, and unfortunately she and I couldn't connect while we were down in Acapulco together, but I'm sure we'll have other opportunities in the future. As it is right now, she's just going to use her skills at writing and just her skills at community building to help with the SmartCash community in any way she can, and we're very excited to have her with us. She recently wrote an article on one of her sites about why I like SmartCash, and so I think that's a great place to start. So you've been in the crypto space for a few years now. I think last time we talked, you said you first got some in 2013 or 2014, you said. Is that correct?
Mine were bought in 2013, like in the very beginning of 2013, if I remember correctly, with what was left of my tax return. And I spent $35 a coin, and I'm pretty sure I bought like 4.5 coins, if I remember correctly. But by that point, John, he purchased at $9 a coin like 6 months earlier or something like that. Definitely got in a lot earlier. Was gambling on Satoshi Dice and all sorts of other seals with clubs when that was still going, and other things.
all the good OG stuff out there. It's really nice to have somebody who's been in the crypto community that long to join us.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like I remember a couple years ago at Anarchapulco, they did a talk on the history of like Bitcoin and crypto, and I was just watching it, and I was like, man, I lived through all of that. Like, I watched all of that happen from Mount Gox to Bitcoin, BitcoinStore.com, to all of it. Like,
it's really weird hearing about events from other people's perspectives and them talking about like, oh, this was so long ago. Like, it wasn't that long ago. I'm not that old.
It feels like it, though, because with how fast things happen in the crypto space, like, even a year feels like so long ago now.
It absolutely does. I mean, I've been with SmartCash a little over a year myself, and it feels like a lot has happened this last year. And we're all veterans at this point, but you're even more so than I am, I think. I bought in a little bit after you later in 2014, and just kind of been holding ever since. So you also said in your article that you've been living off of crypto exclusively since 2014.
How that ended up happening was I'd mentioned John's Satoshi Dice gambling. Well, he was like really good at Satoshi Dice, and he ended up with, at one point, he had a wallet with 130 Bitcoin in it. Bitcoin wasn't worth very much. So like, he had it invested in everything from like crypto mining companies to just different altcoins, and then we decided to go live off grid in Cleveland, and we were using the eGift app and the Gift app in general at Kmart to buy everything from gas to what we needed to survive living off the grid and spent all of it. And that was basically like the beginning of that, but that was when we realized that it was really easy to live off crypto, and we wanted to. We were bankless by that point, and then going on the run, it was just like, hey, we already know how we're going to manage our money. There was no question.
That's interesting. Yeah, it must have been a lot easier to have already been completely financially off the grid when you decided to go on the run. That's better than most people probably have at that point.
It was a combination of that, and we had already so heavily considered moving out of the country that it was just like, it's just time to go at that point. Like, the combination of those two things.
Back in 2014, 2015, like, we feel like everybody knows about crypto now, and though in the reality, barely anybody does still. But back then, it really was, nobody knew anything about it.
Yeah, and like, most people, and John, like, because John was essentially an evangelist for it from the beginning. Like, he followed Roger Ver, he followed everything that had to do with crypto, and he was big on spreading the word. He gave out a lot of crypto. He was paid to do presentations about crypto. He built a computer for his friend off of stuff he bought off the Bitcoin store to prove a point. Like, yeah, he just did what he could to spread it at a time when most people are like, what's a cryptocurrency?
That's pretty awesome. It's great to have people who've just been around and been up and down that long, because a lot of the new people in the game are they freak out with the market being like it is. But when you've been around for 4 years or 5 years, you realize that it goes up, it goes down. But
for me, this all reminds me of the time when I bought in at $35 a coin, and then it ran up to like $500 a coin, and then it dropped back down to like, I think it was sitting like around $100 a coin for like a year. Like, that's what this reminds me of. It's not very much different.
Yeah, and that's exactly how I feel. But it's hard. It always feels hard when things change like this. But that's what it is about being an early adopter, and we are still all early adopters. Even if you just got in a week ago, there's so much room to go. And to borrow a phrase, we're on the right side of history, right?
Yeah, more or less. Like, it's, from what I can tell, it's the passionate people, the people that really understand the ideas and are, that keep it going at the end of the day. There are a lot of people that seem to come in and come out of this stuff. They see it as a way to make money or whatever, but then there's the people that actually like really see it for what it is and try to push it, and that's where the progress is really made, from what I can tell.
Yeah, you have to have all kinds of people, and not everybody's going to 100% buy in like some of us, but it's important to have the people who are bought in, who have the plan for the future, who fully believe in what cryptocurrency is all about here and doing the work.
I don't think everybody needs to go all in. I think like just a couple people going all in like I do to prove it's possible is what matters at the end of the day. And then that gives, a little bit of legitimacy, because not everybody needs to live off of it. Sometimes it is easier. Like, there is a bit of a challenge for me personally being totally unbanked. Like, getting pesos is not easy. I have to depend on other people,
Yeah, and that's one of the things. Like, it's so hard when 100 Bitcoin now would be awesome, but you had to sell it years ago to live off of. But if nobody had ever actually used it years ago, if nobody had ever bought stuff with it, it wouldn't be where it is today. I mean, even though it sucks being the person who sold back then, of course, at the same time, usage is vital for actual adoption and advancement of the space.
Well, that's actually kind of one of the things that I like about SmartCash, because they promote both the store of value thing with the Smart Rewards and Smart Nodes programs, and then they also promote being used as cash, because like at the end of the day, what I like about cryptocurrency is the fact that it can be both.
Yeah, and that's very important for crypto. And one of the things I always say about SmartCash is we're trying to get the currency back into cryptocurrency, because it's so hard to actually use crypto as a currency these days. But it is important as a store of value too, because nobody's going to want to buy something to spend if it's going to be worth a whole bunch less a year or two from now.
It's got to be both easy to store and easy to spend.
Yeah, and that's what we're working on every day here at SmartCash, and so I hope you can definitely help us with is from your perspective as somebody who's been living off of it for 5 years now, that you can share us your experiences and maybe we can design a bit better based on those experiences.
Yeah, I could also help get more people interested in actually using SmartCash because I'm a person that actually uses it.
Exactly, and it's great. There are a couple businesses down there in Acapulco, and we're hoping that you can help us expand that either through our SmartPay Smart Card app or through AnyPay for the stores that want to use multiple cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine about like the idea of getting a lot of just businesses all over Mexico involved in using SmartCash. He wants to see everybody in Mexico use SmartCash and abolish the government, but so does every American in the U.S.
Well, it's important to dream big. We wouldn't really be able to get anywhere. We need to be able to have the people who dream big and shoot for the moon. As stupid as the phrase is, shoot for the moon, you might hit the stars. But at the same time, go all in.
No, I get exactly what you mean. You're never going to get anything out of it unless you put something into it. So that's what life's all about.
Yeah, so that's great. We want to definitely have more people. That's what SmartCash is really about, is our users helping us push forward and use proposals or even just setting up meetups at your local bar and getting that bar to accept SmartCash. I mean, that's little by little, that's what we need to happen, is both convincing people to use it and then getting people to actually use it. The worst part is convincing a business to accept it, and then 6 months later they haven't had a single person try to use it. So you got to push both ends.
Yeah, I get exactly what you mean. It's interesting now. There might actually be potential for a SmartCash meetup here in Acapulco because I've got a couple of my friends using it. I had my friend accept his first SmartCash transaction on the beach yesterday, and he was like, "Oh, it showed up already! Awesome!"
That is a common experience when using SmartCash. It's we do try to make sure things stay fast. That's what we're always pushing for. We are very much faster than most other similar coins, but we're still pushing to get even faster as time goes on. And but that's what's necessary. I mean, you go to your restaurant, and you're not going to wait 20 minutes for a transaction to go through. You need to be able to have that transaction, have the teller see it, and move on with your lives within a few seconds. Waiting for it is the last.
Yeah, I don't even think it was 2 minutes. Like, he was like, "Oh, it's showing up," and he's like, "But it's not confirmed." And then like not even 30 seconds later, he's like, "Oh, it's confirmed. Never mind."
Yeah, and
I told you that.
As we get instant pay more and more used and accepted, then that confirmation time won't even be an issue. So that's another thing we're pushing for, obviously, because again, your merchants can't sit around and wait and risk that, especially a busy lunch place like Verde Vegan is down there. They can't wait around 30 seconds when they have 20, 30 people in line. They just need to keep moving.
Indeed, and it's great for their business model.
Yeah. So right now you're in Acapulco. How long have you been in Acapulco at this point?
I've lived here for 3 years at this point. I did leave briefly, like when John died, but it was. In that, I learned that I don't like living in rural Mexico, at least not at this point in my life. And there's nothing wrong with rural Mexico other than there's nothing out there.
I mean, to be fair, you can say a lot about rural America.
Empty. It's almost too quiet. Whereas I have a deep love for the city, and despite everything, like, I'm still pretty addicted to the city. I am considering other places in Mexico, though. I'm going to go check out a couple other places and see what I think, but I don't know. I've been a lot of places here already, and Acapulco's always been my favorite from the very beginning. Maybe I'm biased.
Yeah, I'm sure you are biased, but it is a very beautiful place. I loved my visit there. It was, I just loved being at the ocean and the hills behind the coast. It was a very beautiful area. I'll admit the city was a bit noisy for my taste, but I am living in the country in the middle of nowhere in the States, so I'm used to quieter.
Yeah, as we're having an earthquake, oddly enough, I I remember like Acapulco in a lot of ways was like a rehumaning experience between like the people and just the beauty of this place. Like it's definitely like, you know, you have good neighbors here. Good neighbors exist. But they exist in Mexico. Yeah, it's just incredible. Like since everything happened, I have people that randomly come up and hug me, and they tell me "con cuidado," which means be careful. But like,
Hmm.
you know, it's a great city. It's basically a small town, but a big city at the same time. You run into people you know all the time. It doesn't matter where you're at in the city. It's amazing. Definitely love it.
That's exactly the kind of place you want to be, is where you have people who are caring for you, because we are social creatures and being alone too much is not good for us. And that's one of the things about cryptocurrency, is that even though it's so technical and so many, well, to put it bluntly, antisocial geeks have gotten into it, it really doesn't mean anything without other people and without helping other people.
The one thing that I've noticed is like the big thing that's going to get Mexicans into it is, you know, the fact that they can accept money without the tax man seeing it, and they always like a good way to avoid the taxes.
Well, that's important. That's certainly an important part of any market system. Is if you remove overhead from doing business, that's a huge help. I mean, in the States, for the most part, people want to live above board because everybody is afraid of the IRS, whether or not they should be. But it's also not as much of a burden on a lot of people in the States. Whereas in Mexico and other countries like that, it's a very much a big deal. They're living a little bit closer to the edge than most people in the States, and that percentage, I actually have no idea what the business tax is in Mexico, but
it's low, but like it's just high enough to where it counts most poor people out.
sure.
The funny thing here is like, yeah, more people are more likely to like, and I saw this time and time again up in the barrio that I lived in. It's like they'll open a business, the business will get popular, the tax man will come around, they'll close the business, and then they'll open a different business and try to be more discreet, and and that just seems to be how it happens, and it happens like that all over the city. You'll see businesses open for a short time, but from what I can tell, they're open illegally, you know, as far as permits are concerned, and then they get hit with the permit once they start to make money, and then they close down. They open up something else.
Yeah, that makes sense, because they just need to, the margins are just that thin, so they just need to do whatever they can to keep those costs down, and taxation is just another cost. And and all over the world they try to apply taxes to keep you from doing things, the various sin taxes, smoking or even sugary drinks or whatever. But then nobody thinks that income taxation or business taxation keeps income or businesses down. It doesn't. People don't understand incentives. That's what a good cryptocurrency is all about. It was one of
those things where I understood that one my very first paycheck. And I remember it clearly because I was standing next to the first dude that I ever knew that called himself an anarchist. And I looked at my check and I was like, what the hell? And he was like, welcome to taxes.
Yeah, a lot of people run into that. Their first check, like, all right, I make, $7 an hour or however much you made when you first worked. And I worked, 40 hours this week. I'm going to make $280. No, you're not.
Yeah, that's exactly how it was. I was just like, what the hell? And he's like, yeah, this is where the government steals from you for doing nothing. And I was like, oh man, way to make me regret getting a job.
Yeah, and that's really what it is for a lot of people. Now, not all of our listeners are full-on anarchists. Some are minarchists who believe in a responsible level of taxation. But I think most of us can agree that the current tax regimes around most of the world tax too much, and the governments use those taxes poorly and do too much.
Yeah, so a voluntary system where you like agree to pay into something to get, X, Y, and Z out of it. That's one thing, but like forced, coerced taxation is a totally different matter.
Exactly. And I could go into that a lot too, because I'm not sure why I spent so much time thinking about it, but I have. But we don't need to go into all of that right now. There are lots of options, lots of ways this could be done. And the core about cryptocurrency is making sure people are in control of their own money. One of the greatest scams that were pulled in America is the fact that your taxes are taken out automatically, so people don't even realize it. They just get their paycheck and move on for the most part. And even the ones who do look, most of them don't realize that they're only showing half the taxes there and the businesses are paying the other half. And if with cryptocurrency, you can theoretically look at the transaction and see where all of it's going, be it taxes or otherwise. So hopefully that actually is used and useful as time goes on, whatever that adoption schedule ends up being. Is there anything you want to say to our community before we go? Not to put you on the spot or anything.
I hadn't thought of that, honestly. Like, life's too short to not take risks because of X, Y, and Z. So, do what you can to make the world a better place today, I guess.
There you go.
That's all we can do.
All right. Well, we're thrilled to have you here at SmartCash. We'll link to your... I should have started with this. What's your Twitter?
My Twitter is @LilyDivine. Spelled exactly how it sounds, basically. LILYDAVINE.
All right, we'll link to that in the notes. We'll link to your Why I Like SmartCash post, and we'll link to your Steemit, because why not? And we'll go from there.
And I'll also send you the link. I'll also send you the link for my website. It's highlyfunctionalgrowth.com for anybody that just wants to go peek. It's essentially my blog, my store, what I'm doing now that I don't have access to my Steemit because of the cops.
Yeah, you still haven't been able to get your system back, but we'll keep moving forward together. So,
Indeed.
all right, Lily. Thank you very much for your time. We will definitely talk some more, and you have a great evening, okay?
You too. Thank you.
All right, thanks for listening, everyone.